What makes desire hurt so bad? Have you ever wondered why the things you want most in life also seem to bring the deepest pain? The dream car you can't yet afford, huh? The relationship that feels just out of reach. The success you chase but never seem to catch. Why do our deepest desires hurt us the most? Today we are going to uncover the hidden reason behind this strange phenomenon. And by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why desire feels like suffering, but you will also see how this very pain is a spiritual key. A key to the fourth dimension, a doorway that unlocks the path to getting everything you've ever wanted. I am Ijoma Oputa. The torchbearer of reflection. I guide people from pain and frustration to peace by revealing through mirror portals the limitless self within. Desire is one of those misunderstood double-edged swords that can push us to achieve great things, but at the same time, it can lead us to serious emotional pain. Think about it. Desire is what drives us to go after our goals and dreams, but it's also what makes us feel like we're missing something. Like we're missing out when we can't have something we want so bad. It's a fundamental part of being human, and yet it can be a source of both motivation and suffering. This confusion, however, comes from mistaking the two edges of the same sword. We believe longing and desire are the same thing, but they are not. Just as heads and tails are two sides of the same coin, longing and desire are two edges of the same sword. One edge divides, it cuts you away from your peace, your confidence, your sense of wholeness, and the other conquers. It pushes you forward, carving a path towards growth, creation, and ultimately fulfillment. The problem is most of us grip the wrong edge. We cling to longing, which wounds us, instead of wielding desire, which empowers us. You see, it's really that simple. And that's why what you want so badly actually hurts. And it will continue to hurt until you learn how to hold the sword the right way. Once again, we return to the dimension board, the ancient legacy of an order that sought to guide humanity across multiple realities, showing us how to navigate a clear path towards our highest dreams while wielding the sword of intention correctly. The dimension board is more than a teaching tool. It is a simplified map of the fourth dimension, a realm that governs possibility, alignment, and choice. By understanding this map, manifestation in the third dimension, the physical world, becomes far easier. The frustrations of daily life begin to make sense, and the hidden mechanics behind why we suffer and why we wait and why we sometimes fall short are illuminated. As an illustration, let me walk you through the path I followed on this very dimension board to manifest my dream car. We begin at the first square, as a pawn, of course. The place of painful longing. And at this stage, when I was dreaming for my dream car, I was obsessed with the car, but all I could feel was frustration. I told myself I couldn't afford it and that it was out of reach. I thought my lack of money was the problem, but in truth, it was my belief. Because at every point in our lives, what is possible is not dictated by circumstance, but by what we truly believe about ourselves. So here on the dimension board, my starting point is represented by here. And for the sake of illustration, we will illustrate it with two pieces. The first piece clings to the concept of lack, constantly repeating that I can't and I don't have. And it's obviously influenced by the dragon. The second, however, represents a different choice, the recognition of abundance, the truth that says all things are possible when I align with who I really am. Both pieces are on the same square. Both begin in the same reality, but the path each takes from here is very different. When I was trying to manifest my dream car, the first mistake I made was the most common one, a mistake almost everyone makes when relying solely on their senses in this physical, three-dimensional world. I identified with the wrong aspect of myself, the part under the influence of the dragon. The dragon represents the illusion of lack, the fiery voice that whispers, "You don't have enough. You are not enough. You'll never make it." And because I chose to see myself through that lens, I was filled with pain, frustration, and endless longing. So when a so-called friend appeared offering me a shortcut, a solution that seemed almost too good to be true, I leapt at it. In truth, I wasn't making a clear choice. I was reacting out of desperation. And desperation always clouds judgment and is inconsistent with our natural state of abundance. That's how the dragon keeps us circling around the same square and in the same region on the dimension board, never advancing, and if we advance at all, we advance into despondence and destruction in the abyssus cordis. This so-called friend claimed that since I obviously couldn't qualify to finance the car of my dreams, he had a workaround. If I gave him my current car along with some cash, he would arrange or make some special deal, an indefinite lease, no paperwork needed. Blinded by longing, which is painful, I believed him, and just as quickly he vanished with my deposit and my current car. So not only did I lose the dream car I wanted so badly, I also lost the simple car I already owned. This is the perfect example of what I call drifting into the abyssus cordis, the abyss of the heart. It is a place you sink into when you identify with lack, when desperation drives your decisions, and when you let the dragon of illusion guide your hand. In this abyss, your power drains away, and you find yourself not only further from your dreams, but stripped of that which you have in the first place. So exactly how did I navigate from here let's revert back to the new present. So now that I've lost everything, in this case, my new state was in a state of extreme trauma and loss, really far on the other side. Obviously much worse than where I was when I began. And as quoted in Matthew 25, verse 29, "For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who does not have, even that which he has will be taken away." And when you are governed by fear and the ideation of inadequacy, the influence of the dragon, you inevitably reap loss. At that point, I couldn't blame my deceitful friends, nor could I blame misfortune or bad luck. The truth was much harder. I could only blame myself. Why? Because the deception and the loss of my car were not accidents. They were reflections of the false concept of myself, the concept I had chosen to align with, the concept of lack. The outer event was simply mirroring the inner self, and until that belief changed, my results in the third dimension, the physical, could only represent the same painful pattern. So what was I to do at this point? I had two choices. One option was to restructure the past, just as I demonstrated in previous videos, to try to activate a less gullible reality, one where I wasn't deceived, where I never gave up the car I already had. But if you really think about it, what would that truly achieve? At best, it would give me or return my old gas guzzler. In other words, I'd be fighting for a consolation prize, a waste of time and energy, because I'd basically be circling back to where I was, which was a painful state of lack. The other option was far more powerful. To keep moving forward, to keep my focus on the dream car itself. Because while rewriting the past can heal regret, only aligning with the future pulls you into abundance. The question was no longer, how do I get back what I lost, but rather, how do I advance towards that which I truly desired? So, first I had to remove myself from the state of pain and longing, and instead shift into desire, the path of the rook, and of course, projected embodiment. In other words, it wasn't enough to simply say, I believe in abundance. I had to become the version of myself that not only lived in abundance, but was the abundance itself. Take note. This fresh perspective doesn't change what we think about the future. It changes who we are in the present. And when our identity shifts, our energy shifts. We enter into a stable state of bliss and gratitude, even before we see any evidence of the manifestation itself. Isn't that wonderful? On the dimension board, this transformation is symbolized by becoming the rook that slides into the region of divine promise. Notice we don't get there by scripting stories or wishing harder. Instead, we enter this state through the power of observation within mirror portals. And here's how we do it. I take the vision of what I desire, in this case my dream car, and I fuse it into the field of observation inside the portals. Let's assume this is an image. All I do is insert it. And when I activate the quantum box and affirm that I own and am what I desire, It no longer is a reflection. It is me as I will be, or I choose to be. And by observing myself already united with this desire, my subconscious accepts it as true. This is the essence of embodiment, merging the inner vision with the outer reflection until there's no separation. So here's exactly how I do it. I took the image of the car that I desired. Let's hypothetically say this is a picture of the car, and placed it within the box. And looking into the mirror portals, I repeated out loud, I am so happy and grateful I've got this car. I am that I am. I declared this over and over again for about 10 minutes until the words sank into me. And after that, I followed with 1 hour countdown meditation, which the link to which is somewhere down below. And this is designed to carry this affirmation deeper into my subconscious, fusing it with the stillness of mind. But I didn't stop here. Throughout the day, I carried a small reminder with me, a king. It was a piece big enough that I could feel its presence, but small enough to keep with me everywhere I went. And every time I noticed it, anytime I felt it rather, in my pocket, which was nearly every other minute, I recited the same affirmation again. I am so happy and grateful I've got my car. I am that which is the car. I am. This constant reinforcement made embodiment my dominant thought. And when this happens, the universe has no choice but to reflect back your inner vision in your outer world. That's how it works. And that's what everybody's missing. This is how to desire without pain. You must become that which you want. Only then is its materialization a mere pleasant extension of you. And this applies to material things, relationships, and even your concept of self. Here's how things played out. I went to the dealership because I got an epiphany, having changed who I was. I filled out an application and I was promptly declined. But I didn't qualify. But I wasn't taking no for an answer. I asked what then could be done. And the salesman told me to return tomorrow. And I returned. And the salesman hid from me. But I stayed until he couldn't hide any longer. He finally returned and gave me a deal he thought would be too difficult and too impossible to accept, asking for a large down payment, almost half the price of this car. This was a really, really expensive car. But I accepted, not knowing, of course, where the funds would come from. But by the time I started selling stuff that I didn't need, and pressing people that owed me money, and selling old cars that were just lying around doing nothing, I was shocked that I came up with a deposit in 2 weeks. After that, then insurance kicked in. Or should I say, the crisis of insurance. No one would insure this damn car. Not even the dealership. I called everyone, Allstate, Progressive, State Farm, no one. And the dealer made it clear, not only was I not getting my deposit back, if I couldn't get insurance, there was no deal. Suddenly, out of the blue, the State Farm insurance agent called me back and said she looked in my profile, and since I co-signed a car for a friend, not even a real friend, but I co-signed a car for this friend, and because they got it financed through State Farm Bank, she could insure the car for me. That came right out of the blue. The insurance broker gave me a policy over the phone, and I was out of there with my dream car. I couldn't make up the story even if I wanted to. Even the dealer said he had never seen anybody get insurance for a car like this that quick. You see, when you embody that which you desire, pain is supplanted with gratitude and anticipation instead of lack. There is no telling how it will happen, but when you feel just right, it doesn't matter if it's out of sight. It will be made manifest because you occupy the ocean of benevolence, where all your dreams come true. So now you know why longing hurts and desire excites. Longing rejects and desire presents. If this resonates, remember to like, subscribe, and share, because there's nothing better than sharing with people you love that which you have discovered. Peace and blessings.